All right. Good morning. Thanks everyone for joining us on this bi-weekly edition of the Arkansas Broadband Leaders Network, or ABLN. We're going to go ahead and get right into it today. Have some content, some exciting content actually for folks. And so let's go ahead and get into it. Updates. Quickly, we'll look at updates on the Arkansas BEAD program, where we are with that. We're going to have some introduction and greetings from our new NTIA Federal Program Officer for Arkansas. And then we'll look at some digital opportunity updates. Cam will update us there, specifically around our back to school initiative. And then we'll look at our feature presentation for today from Connected Nation, Teens Teach Tech. And that's very interesting. And of course, as always, open up the floor to Q&A. All right, so updates on the Arkansas BEAD program with the benefit of the bargain round that was completed on July 14th. So application evaluations remain underway. I believe the last call that we had, the team was able to update everyone on some of the early statistics around the benefit of the bargain grant round that we had to sort of rerun, and some stats were put out for you. So I'm not going to cover those again. It's from the meeting before, but in short, applications evaluations still remain underway. Quick look at sort of the immediate timeline, which you can expect. As of today, we're about 3 weeks away. So August 22nd, 3 weeks, that's when the statewide award list will go public. So again, there's a couple of procedural hurdles, right? It goes public. Everyone's going to know who has been preliminary selected, where they've been preliminary selected, all the things. And we have that open for a week for folks to look at and digest and ask questions if you want to. And then we have to send that document off to NTIA at the federal level to have them review it and sign off and approve it. And then we come back to Arkansas and go to the General Assembly and so forth. So there's a process involved, but in short, 3 weeks from today is what we're targeting to be able to finally release, after all this time and all this work, the listing of statewide awards for the BEAD program. So really exciting. We're almost there, and happy to almost be there with you guys. So, okay, at this moment, we're going to introduce Miss Amy Van de Velde, who is our NTIA Federal Program Officer, and she can explain what all that means to the folks. So good morning, Amy.
Good morning. Thanks, Glenn. I appreciate the introduction. I believe you all know Philip Powell was your previous federal program officer, and he has become my manager. And so Philip is still very much in the mix and helping out with everything Arkansas. But I have been at NTIA. Today is my 3-year anniversary, and I've been Missouri's federal program officer for that entire time. Prior to coming to NTIA, I worked for 10 years in digital inclusion work and worked to help digital newcomers understand how to use their devices and to navigate online safety. Once at NTIA, I was tasked with leading up all the non-deployment programs when we were going to have that throughout all the states. So I'm interested in everything that you all are working on that has to do with helping people on the ground use the internet that gets built with BEAD. That's a soft spot in my heart. I live in St. Louis area and will eventually travel to Arkansas to conduct monitoring and be on build sites. So I'm very interested. If you have questions for me, you can put them in the chat, or I will put my contact information in the chat as well. And if you ever need to reach me and you don't know how to get a hold of me, Glenn, of course, knows how to get a hold of me. So thanks so much.
All right, Amy, good to see you this morning, and thanks for introducing to the great folks in Arkansas. With that, I think, Cam, we'll turn to you for digital opportunity updates, and you'll be able to introduce our feature presentation for today.
Thank you, Glenn. Good morning, everyone. We're still in the process of evaluating alternative funding sources. Just going to be a standstill agenda item until we solidify our strategy and plan to execute with additional funding. Additionally, their NDIA solidified the toolkit for what we will call Digital Opportunity Week. Last year, we weren't able to host any events, but this year the schedule is October 6th through the 10th. And the theme is community driven futures. The website link has a lot of resources, event toolkits, social media toolkits, small typo there, and more. And if you want to talk offline about event themes, types of events that you guys could throw, I'd love to have those conversations with you and strategize on how we can can bring awareness to the issue of people needing the skills to utilize the internet the best. Additionally, based on my research over the last couple of months or so, I thought it was a good timely moment to talk about adoption, talk about low cost internet with people that may need it the most. The knowledge gained, I and probably some teammates from the office go look to volunteer at a few back to school events, pass out these flyers with featuring everyone owns a low cost finder tool. And we have these broad talking points of, 70% of students, 70% of teachers assign homework that requires internet. 43% of low income households, based on a national study, are not subscribed to internet at home, and 24% of students in low cost households, may not be able to complete homework consistently at home. And then with the bigger talking point of, nearly half of our residents may struggle with affordability. I think that's the biggest thing here. I think that's going to be the biggest issue going forward as we build infrastructure. People being able to subscribe to it is going to make sure we make the impact. We were able to develop this flyer with our communications team, which is awesome. And there are some great programs out there. So I wanted to share just in case that sparks an interest in your community. So take this, and I can share the tool, I can share the flyer, and also other talking points if you're interested in exploring this idea further. In the month of August, I want to set a goal for personally myself attending about 10 of these events, maybe touching a few hundred people, hopefully meeting and greeting, shaking hands, and networking as well. So I hope to see you out there. I may be coming to your neck of the woods across the state. With that, I have the pleasure of introducing our feature presenter, Mrs. Heather Gate. She's the Executive Vice President of Digital Inclusion at Connecting Nation with the awesome Teens Teach Tech program. Heather, I'd love to pass it to you.
Thank you so much. And thank you. Thank you so much, Kamal. My name, as you said, is Heather Gate. I have been in the digital inclusion space for about 18 years with Connected Nation. I also served as the chair of the Communications Equity and Diversity Council for the FCC under Chairman Pai and also under Chairman Rosenworcel. So I'm really excited to join.
Excuse me, Heather.
Yes.
If you're looking to share your camera, I don't know if your camera blocked, maybe.
Oh, you can't? Okay, let me see if I can.
Got you.
You got me? Okay, awesome. So I'm really excited to talk to you about the Teens Teach Tech program. By the way, Connected Nation is a national nonprofit, and our mission is really about helping bridge the digital divide. And our strategy is really to approach the issue of the digital divide from access, adoption, and use. So what that means is we do programming on the infrastructure side, on the planning side, And my role at Connected Nation is what I call the people side. And that is, implementing projects and programs that help to bridge the digital divide. So it could be providing digital skills training, or helping communities with their broadband planning as well. And so Teens Teach Tech really began, the foundation of Teens Teach came out of the COVID. What happened was during COVID, we were fortunate enough to collaborate with AT&T on providing hotspots to institutions, and for them to actually distribute those devices to families that needed them. We distributed about 50,000 devices. And as we wrapped that program a year later, we did a study to see the impact and the effects. And one of the things that became very clear to us was that the issue of the digital divide was just not for the students only, but their parents. We found that the parents had issues helping kids sign on for school when we were doing remote school. And so we decided that that was something that we needed to figure out how to tackle. And that's how Teens Teach Tech came about. What we realized was we could harness the skills and the power that the students had in the fact that they were digitally savvy. So why not empower them to be the digital navigators in their own communities, to train their own families, to go out into the community and find people that needed this help. And so that's how Teens Teach Tech was born. Teens Teach Tech is a digital navigator program where Connected Nation empowers students to provide these training services to their families in their own community. The students are welcome to be as creative as they like. They can train their own families. They can go train at the local senior center. They can host their own events. We sort of empower them to be as creative as they want, as long as they're partnering with us to really see strategies for ways they can bridge the digital divide. So next slide. So what do we provide as part of Teens Teach Tech? One of the things that we wanted to do is in Teens Teach Tech was we wanted to make sure that all students could participate, right? Regardless of the income level of their families, regardless of where they live, rural and urban areas. So we thought about what we could provide through the program. So what we provide them is we provide them curriculum. We provide them material, and the training material was created by the Public Library Association and AT&T. So it includes basic skills training, how to use basic skills, internet essentials, mobile device basics, internet cybersecurity. So all the basics that you really need to get a person started. So we not only provide them with the curriculum, we also provide them access to other resources that they can use for them to do the training. We also provide them startup funds to start their project, because what the whole part of is, although Connected Nation's initial goal and vision was about bridging the digital divide, it also became something bigger. It also became about how do we also empower these students and give them a life-changing opportunity. And so they're learning project management because they're creating their own unique project within their community. And while we're giving them curriculum, we actually allow them to customize the curriculum in a way that really solves a local problem. So for example, we have some kids that are working with the school system to train parents on how to use the school's portal. And so they get to train parents on internet safety. They get to train them on internet basics. But then also as part of their training, they're also including content on how parents can go to the school's portal to access grades, to access things that the school needs to communicate with parents. And we often take this for granted. For a lot of us on this call are probably hugely tech savvy, and we're able to keep track of how our students are doing. So imagine if your skills are low, you don't even have an email address. That's a real challenge. So we challenge them to really identify as an issue in their community. I think the most fulfilling and the most exciting thing that I've seen come out of Teens Teach Tech is the students realizing that generational gap with seniors. And so we found that a lot of our teenagers have realized that they can collaborate with local senior centers. They're going to senior centers on the weekends to provide training for seniors. And, the outcomes from that is not only for the students and not just for bridging the digital divide, but building community. So those are things that we didn't go into this thinking those would be the stories that we could tell. But it's very exciting. And so we also provide coaching and mentoring, and that is provided virtually. So we don't actually have a mentor that's there physically with them. We really rely on the organization that is signed up for the program. And I'll talk more a little bit later about how an organization can become a Teens Teach Tech partner. So we provide them orientation, and they can be, they have the mentor available to them to help them build their program, to provide them advice. A lot of times we give them the power to really create the idea. We're more of a support system and a mentor to help guide them through the process. So next slide. So what do the teens do? The teens that can participate in this program are basically from the 8th to the 12th grade. We do allow some middle school students to participate as long as there is a teenager within the team. And so as long as there's high schoolers or a teenager, they can have teammates that are a little younger. The teens get to teach those basic digital skills, but like I said, they can customize it and build it into existing program. As a matter of fact, some of our most successful teams are teams that are in a existing program in the community and are looking for community service hours and are already planning to do something that they built in Teens Teach Tech. One of our teams that we have, we're partnering with a senior group to drive around their city and learn about the history. And so what they would do, they would drive around, take videos of the city while they're learning from the senior about what happened historically in that city and what that place used to be. And then so part of that partnership is learning the story of the city, developing digital content, but part of that developing digital content is also teaching them about internet safety and the basic skills they need to be able to understand what the teenager knows. So I have so many stories to tell about what the students are doing with this. So the teens get to do the training. They get to just pick their own idea in their own community. They get to gain leadership skills, project management skills, teamwork. They gain a lot of confidence. The other thing that we didn't anticipate is the teens themselves are learning, advancing their own digital skills. There's nothing more that we hear from them than the feedback on the internet safety training, for example. They let us know, I didn't know this. Nobody ever told me this information. I didn't know what a secure website looks like. I didn't know. So we're also becoming very conscious of the digital divide, that we too make a lot of assumptions about the skills of the teenagers. Just because they know how to use a tablet doesn't mean that they are receiving the knowledge about the internet besides what they're learning by playing. So it's also fascinating to see them grow as well, them develop their own digital skills as they go through this process. Next slide. So in terms of incentives and things that the teens can earn, the teens actually earn financially, and I'll explain that. We're not paying individual students. So Teens Teach Tech partners with the organization. We partner with organizations that provide services to teens. So we're partnering with organizations that already have teens. We're partnering with school systems. We're partnering with community centers, after school programs, organizations that are structured with teens already. And so within that organization, they can be 1, 2, 3 teams of students. So that team of students can earn up to, and this says 3,000, it's actually $4,000 for the team. And they get to earn $10 for each adult trained. So this is how it works. For example, if they go to the local senior center and they provide training, let's say the basic skills, let's say the internet safety, for each adult, for each seating they have in their classroom, they can earn $10. So if one adult attended 2 classes, that's $20. They can earn up to 4,000 a year, and that refreshes for the next year. And so this is, for us, has been a great fundraising opportunity for students. We've had teams, organization get up to $8,000. The only thing that we ask is the funding goes to the team, whether we don't dictate how the money is used. So for example, we've had some that just give all the money to the teams. There's some that are using the money to build the program. So as long as it's benefiting the digital inclusion program, then we're not, we don't govern how that money is used. The funding goes straight to the organization, and it's the responsibility of the organization to distribute the funding. But the teams also get up to $500 startup money, and they usually use this money for, if they're hosting an event, the event costs. Some of them buy cookies when they're going to the senior center or whatever they need to do. But otherwise, they get to earn some financial incentives. They get to earn service hours, community service hours. We've had a few organizations that choose not to get the financial compensation because it is a community service. But we also have some organizations that really need this funding. We had some organizations that are using this money as a fundraiser for students to go to a trip. And so it's sort of exciting to see how people process and use this funding. So it's truly a win-win situation in so many ways, that we're seeing the students grow from beginning the program very nervous about how can I teach a grown-up, to a few months later, they're really confident, because once they get into the curriculum, a lot of them realize that this is so basic and it's very easy, and it's things that they take for granted, and yet they are really part of the solution, in trying to really help bridge the digital divide. And so it's a win-win. It's a win-win for everyone. It's a win-win for the organizations. It's a win-win for us, because we get to, we get to advance our mission of helping bridge the digital divide. So we're really sort of excited about that. Next slide. So if you want to learn more, and I hope they'll share the slide, we have an interest form. If you fill the interest form, we'll reach out to you and start working through the details of how you can you can participate in Teens Teach Tech. The main thing we ask for is that it be a partner that's already working with teens, because we are not responsible for the teens on the ground. So we rather have institutions that are already approved to work with teens. And so the interest form, once you fill out the interest form, our outreach coordinator will reach out and start working with you through the process and providing any information that you need. And we have all the materials available to partner. We do. So far, since we launched in 2023, the teens have trained over 25,000 people, and we have teens in over 40 states. I believe we have 2 teams in Arkansas, so we would like to have more teams in Arkansas doing this work, and it's very exciting. We have teams in Hawaii, we have teams on tribes as well. So it's pretty diverse in its reach. We have teams that are in rural, urban areas doing whatever is appropriate for their community. So it's very exciting, and obviously we're excited about getting more partnerships in Arkansas to get this work done and to get this money distributed, because we've set aside funding for teens to do this in the fall, and we would love to make sure that they're embracing this opportunity. So next slide. There's a video there. And I don't know if you, Kamel, were you planning to play the video? I don't think it's necessary, but you can.
Yeah, I had that in there before.
Yep.
So we can skip this. I
Keep it.
think that concludes. We can go to Q&A now.
Yep.
Glenn, I'll pass it back to you.
Do
Do
you
you
have
have
any?
any questions in the chat?
Yeah, Heather, thank you so much for joining us
Mhm.
today, and we'll hang on and see if we have any questions that do come in. We'll give it just a minute here.
Okay.
Hopefully, we piqued a little bit of interest from some groups that are on our calls, and we'll see if we can't get some additional teams for this
Yes.
program. But we'll give it just a minute. And look, and again, questions around the program today. Also, any questions around the BEAD program are welcome as well. So we'll give it just a minute here and see if anybody has anything. Okay, we've got something coming in. So Valerie said, what is the link for more information on this program? I think it's going to be the second to last slide we just showed, right? I think so. That'll be part of the email that follows the program today. So PowerPoints are always included and the links will work. And Heather has input a link into the chat, so that helps too.
And on that, you'll see the interest form as well. So if you fill that out, you can have a discussion with one of our outreach coordinators as well. And yes, I think can the funds be used to purchase devices for the trainees? Absolutely. You can use the funds for, as long as it's going towards bridging the digital divide and the students program, we're good with that. So
Yeah, Mark asked, so where are the two teams in Arkansas already, and what does it take to get a new community started?
So the two teams are in Hot Springs County and Waldron, and it's Glen Rose High School and Waldron High School. Yeah, both of them are. It's through the Future Business Leaders FBLA group, and actually FBLA are our largest partner, Future Business Leaders. We are in the process of enrolling a lot of JROTCs as well. So they're going to be training veterans. I think the question of what does it take? Just reach out to us and we can begin the conversations we want to make sure because we're working with teenagers, we have to kind of check those traps to make sure the organization, but yeah, reach out to us and we can begin the conversations. Once we're able to go through the security stuff, it's pretty easy to sign on. It's a enrollment sheet and a commitment to have a mentor locally who will oversee the youth, because we don't oversee when the kids are actually doing the training. And then if you are able to commit to that, that we do the paperwork. The other additional paperwork is just the financial information so we can transfer the money. The payouts are done quarterly. So just think of after the third month of the year, the next month is when we do all the quarter, unless of course there's some imminent thing that's coming up, like kids are graduating, the team's graduating, then that can be done faster. But so the process is pretty simple. Once everything signed on, the teams can schedule when they're ready. And so our busiest time is really during the semester when summer is a little slow, but during the semester, because a lot of our teams are school-based teams, they do a lot of their work around school time.
That makes sense with fundraisers, right?
Yeah,
To raise money, right? So it makes sense that they're doing it
exactly.
during the school year. So that makes
Yeah.
sense. Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah, and Heather put the link to the program in the chat box.
Yep.
So we'll see if there are any other prompts. We'll hang on for another minute or two just in case.
And I can also put my email in the chat too, if that helps, Glenn.
Yeah, that'd be great. Perfect. And we'll make sure that those two, the link and your contact email, are included in the follow-up as well. Let's see, Jeffrey, have any boys and girls clubs participated?
Had a harder time with Boys and Girls Club. We've had them sign up, but they haven't been able to do it. And one of the reasons that Boys and Girls Club struggle with this is because they're very busy. They are feeding and they're doing all these things. And the idea of adding this program to their existing curriculum that they plan over an extended period of time has been a lot more challenging. So we've had two sign up, but they've really had a hard time with, a lot of them have been, they don't have enough staffing to dedicate to a few students working on this program. So it's really more of a, the kids come from school, they got to feed them lunch, dinner, and get them through the official activities. So it's more of a technical thing for Boys and Girls Club. That's why I think the future business leaders and the other type of clubs around the school they are looking for community service time, are more likely to have the time for it. But we'd love to partner with the Boys and Girls Club that has, I think if they can find like a parent volunteer to oversee, I think that's the missing piece because they don't have enough staff members to oversee that. So I think they could potentially be very successful at it. We don't have any scout
I was gonna say,
units.
interesting one here. Yeah, I was interesting here with the scouts. Yeah.
I'd love that though.
You said there's currently none that you're aware of?
Yeah, we don't have any scout teams. But that would be very exciting. Yeah. Yeah, we have some community action programs. Yep. And we know one of the other things that we've realized a lot of kids have been going to places of worship. We have some kids that go to church, their local church on Sunday after church. They're teaching and they get the best support because everyone comes to support the kids. So that's also exciting. The minimum age, we will allow middle school as long as they're older kids in the team. We're not accounting for the age of everyone in the team, just as long as there's a teenager in there. And we maintain the privacy of the kids, so we don't even, when we interact with the teens, it has to be in the presence of the mentor. So they can't even email us. It has to go through the mentor. So we don't really have access to their actual ages. That's for the partner. That's why we sort of want to be able to trust the partner. But yeah, we don't keep information of the kids or anything like that. The partner organization does. The only time we ever get access to the kids is for if they want to do a public event, because that's something that they can do. If they want to partner with us and do a public event, then we'll get the necessary releases to work with them, but mostly it's through the institution. We have had we had one kid in Tennessee get the governor's volunteer award. That was exciting. We had a kid in Alabama get a national award, and he started his own nonprofit. So he used his money to start his own nonprofit and is donating computers to churches, actually, donating computers so they can start little computer labs to help people look for jobs and things like that. So we have some real great kids coming out of this and just are really committed to it. And we've had kids graduate, go to college, become a mentor for the kids back at their school. So that's sort of exciting, and that it's becoming sticky sort of. So I'm really itching to come to Arkansas. So y'all need to get on this. So
Yeah,
Glenn, make sure
see.
something happens. We need the story.
Yeah, no, we're gonna try. I think we have a few. I think there's a few folks in the call today who will likely reach out to you. I'm pretty sure.
Awesome.
Is there a minimum age of, like, for the folks that are getting trained, like for the adult side, like, does that matter?
We have a little bit more latitude. Before it was they needed to train adults, but I think we've opened it up a little bit. They can train other kids as long as all the safety mechanisms are there. But the primary focus is that they're training adults. But training their peers is fine too. Particularly like internet safety. The internet safety training is for everyone. We have actually some kids that train teachers at their school as their practice. They practice with their own teachers, they train them and they learn. The teachers are also learning something. So there's no age. We've had adults, 92 years of the senior center be trained. So there's no age for the adults.
Heather, have
And
you had any? Oh,
go ahead.
go ahead. Oh, I was wondering, have you had any 4-H tech change makers take on the
Yes.
program? I think this would be a great
Yes.
fit.
We are actually in conversation with 4-H in Virginia as well. But yes, we've had some. We're very interested in working with 4-H. We had one, they were planning to train farmers actually in their community, train people from the farming community on digital skills. So yeah.
All right, very good. Heather, again, thanks for joining us today. Cam, as always, does a great job with getting really good content for our calls. This was a great presentation. And again, I think we'll definitely have some folks on who attended today who will likely reach out to you and see if we can't increase that number of teams in Arkansas. So,
Thank
all right,
you
Heather,
so much.
great to see you this morning. Thanks for joining us. Everybody else, appreciate you. And we'll have more news in a couple of weeks. Thank you.